This conference will now be recorded.
As I normally do, I do record virtual sessions so that you can go back and review those. And let me see if I can share my screen. And of course, last time we began to talk about variable costing or direct costing versus absorption costing. And when we work, and we do this in managerial accounting because we're more planning mode, we have a different format of the income statement. Traditionally, absorption costing or full costing is sales less cost of goods sold, gross profit, less selling and administrative expenses, net income. That's traditionally what we do. But over the next 6 weeks, we're going to be using a variable costing income statement. And on this variable costing income statement, on the variable costing income statement, uh, we have sales less variable product costs, and we'll be talking about that today, gives us the variable manufacturing margin. Less the selling and administrative expenses gives us the contribution margin. So all the variable expenses are subtracted first to get to a contribution margin. Then we subtract the fixed expenses to get to the net income. And we said these two numbers would agree if you did not have ending inventories. They'd be a little different if you had ending inventories because part of the overhead cost, this fixed manufacturing overhead cost, is going to be in the inventory on the absorption cost, but on the variable costing, we will subtract the entire 400,000. So because we subtracted the entire 400,000, uh, the income is going to be different. So just look at that. I'm not overly concerned, uh, but just review this and review this format and just make sure you into this direct variable costing approach, where it's gross margin, sales, uh, less the inventory cost, gross margin, less the other variable expenses, contribution margin, and then we subtract the fixed cost to get the net income. So you just need to be aware of that and realize that income statements over the next 6 weeks will be prepared that way. Then we move in the cost volume profit relationships. And with this graph, the graph shows that there's a certain point where the units sold and the dollars generated will equal all the costs, and so net income will be zero. That's a key thing uh, that you're expected to know in entrepreneurship classes, capstone courses, marketing classes. What's the break even point? That is, how many do we have to sell to break even? If we sell less, there's going to be an operating loss. If we sell more, there's going to be an operating profit. And then we begin to look at some examples. And do we need to go through this example again? Do we need to go through this example again for anyone? Okay. And you will remember I told you that there were three equations you had to, number one, memorize. Number two, know how they operate. There's an equation that we have where we can determine the break-even quantity where selling expenses, what variable and fixed costs are going to equal sales. There's an and that's simply fixed cost divided by the unit contribution margin. Then we have target profit, where the fixed cost is increased by the profit, still divided by the same thing, the unit contribution margin. Then we have a target loss. We have a target loss. It's the fixed cost minus the target loss divided by the unit contribution margin. And our unit contribution margin is unit selling price minus unit variable cost. So in the example we had before, selling price is 15, variable cost 5. And so the unit contribution margin was 10, and that's what we always do. Any questions? We went over option 1. So I want you to pull out your Excel spreadsheets and begin to work on option 2. So I want you to pull out that Excel spreadsheet and work on option 2. Are there any questions where you're going to calculate for me, if I sell one item, what's it going to look like? If there's a target loss, how many do I have to sell to produce a target loss of 100,000? How many do I have to sell to break even? How many do I have to sell for a target profit of $1 million and a target profit of $2 million? So what I want you to do is to, utilizing these assumptions, selling price 3,000, and we're selling computers, variable cost 1,500, total fixed cost 300,000. I want you, with that information, to fill out this chart. Are there any questions? I'm mighty quiet today. So it might be a good day for an attendance quiz, I guess.
No, hey, chill out. But the loaded, it ain't got all that. The yours got. Is that the paper you gave us yesterday?
I gave you that paper yesterday.
Okay, so the one that we put on our computer, it don't have like the option 2. Do you want to just
But you got your paper I gave you, right?
Yeah, but you said you want us to do it on this spreadsheet right here. So you on the paper
Yeah.
there? Okay.
Do it on the Excel spreadsheet. That's what you got to get used to. So you see what the assumptions are. Everybody's supposed to have the Excel spreadsheet open.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the simplest one. We're going to be moving into managerial accounting. So you're just sort of working with totals. So I just want to see everybody. I want to make sure everybody can do this. Because everybody's quiet today. So how long is it going to take you to do it? Well, you have 10 minutes. And then I'm going to put a link in Blackboard. You all too quiet for me. So I can see what you're going to submit. So I'm going to put an assignment in Blackboard. This will now be an attendance quiz. And you will submit it in 10 minutes. On the
Bro, I
Excel.
don't know how to do this. I wasn't even here on Tuesday, so.
Well, I've been asking, did you have any questions? And you've been quiet.
Because
Well,
I didn't
can
know
you
you was
go
about
over
to
what
give
you
us a
did on
quiz. I thought you
Tuesday?
was gonna go over it.
I asked, and nobody's. Let's go over what we did on Tuesday then.
Yeah, can you do that, please?
Certainly. And what we did on Tuesday is taped. Of course, today it's being taped. What we did on Tuesday is already uh, on tape, on YouTube video. And, those videos are always there, plus they're older ones. So when you miss And it's probably not going to be good to miss over the next 2 or 3 weeks because we're working on period 3, 100 points, as well as 100 points for the project. So I know we're coming off spring break, but we don't need any absences at this point. So let's look at what we did then. Again, we worked on option 1 where the unit selling price is 2,500 and the unit variable cost is 1,500. 2,500 selling price, variable cost 1,500. And so the total fixed cost was 150,000. Are there any questions about that?
No.
So let's just see if we can get our Excel spreadsheet up. So we got the Excel spreadsheet up, and this is 2,500, 1,500, and 15,000. So if we're selling 1, we said the selling price is 2,500. So we always look at what happens if we sell 1. Selling price 2,500. We only got 1 raw material that we're using, and this 1 raw material was how much? Would be more, but where we have it slated now, we got 1 unit of raw material, and we said that raw material costs what? 1,500, correct? So 1 times 1,500 is 1,500. So we bought the computers for 2,500. They cost us 1,500. So our product variable cost is $1,000. We don't have any of this yet. So our total variable cost is $1,000. And the contribution margin is going to be total. This is 1,500. Excuse me.
Hey, Professor, is this the same spreadsheet you want us to download for today? Because mine look different than that.
I've got, you can use the one you have, but probably I want you to download this one, and you will find this in the project part 2. So in the project, the only thing you don't have is this part here, but I would prefer that you download this one, and it's in the project part 2. It's in your assignments. So all we're doing, we got a selling price of 2,500, a variable cost of 1,500. So the contribution margin is 1,000 when we sell 1. So this contribution margin is always key number that we're calculating. Okay. Any questions so far? Now,
Why is it 1,000? Like, where did you minus the
selling
500?
selling price 2,500,
Mm,
cost 1,500.
okay.
2,500 less 1,500 gives us a
That,
contribution
okay.
margin of 1,000. So all we did was going here. We had a selling price of 2,500. We had a variable cost of 1,500. We just subtracted 2,500 from 1,500 and came up with a contribution margin of 1,000 because we just had 1 variable cost. We only got one fixed cost in this example, 150,000. Okay. So we can come in here and we'll just put total fixed cost in here at 150,000. And of course, we're just working with this quantity of one. So when I go in here and I put the sales in, I'm going to put in 1,500. I'm going to subtract out the variable cost. Wait a minute. Sales are 2,500. The variable cost is 1,500 as we prove our quantity. So the contribution margin is 1,000. And if our fixed costs are 150,000, if we sell just one item, we would have a loss of 149,000. Any questions on this first column? So you're supposed to be working with me. You're supposed to have this Excel spreadsheet up. We sold it. It cost us 1,500. We sold it for 2,500, and so the contribution margin is 1,000. Cost minus sales less cost. Our fixed cost was 150,000, and so we sold just one. It's 149,000. Any questions so far? Now, the
Yeah,
next
could you,
question.
can you scroll back down, please, so I can finish copying? I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, scroll back down to where you had sales and the rest of it. Okay, thank you. Give me one second.
Okay, Ramo.
Professor, is their product variable cost supposed to be 1,500 or 1,000?
1,500.
Okay.
2,500 less 1,500. So all we're saying is that we sell a computer for 2,500. That cost us 1,500, and so our contribution margin, that is the profit we make every time we sell one, is $1,000. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes.
And if our fixed cost was 150,000, then we'd have a loss of 149,000. Is that clear?
But you said it's a loss.
Yeah. If you sold it and you made $1,000, but your fixed costs were 150, so you lost $149,000 because you only sold one.
Okay, got you. So we need to sell all of it to make a
So
positive.
that's what you're gonna tell me. How many you got to sell? How many you got to sell to break even? That's the next question. How many do you have to sell to break even?
$150.
How'd you get 150? So when we do it this way, what we can actually do is just copy this, and you are working on your spreadsheet. for the exam. So we can paste these in. We can paste them in the other places too. That's going to stay the same. This fixed cost is going to stay the same. Copy it. We're going to paste it. Now, but I need how many I need to sell so that when I sell them, my net income is going to be zero. I want that net income to be zero. So because I'm working with an Excel spreadsheet, I'm going to do what? I'm going to put in a formula. I'm going to put in equal, and I'm going to put a parentheses in. Then I'm going to click on the fixed cost. I'm going to divide that by what? The contribution margin. Then I'm going to close my parentheses. And it says it's 150. So what we've done is to put that equation in. The equation for break even is what? Break even.
150.
But what's the equation? It's going to
It's
equal what?
fixed
Fixed cost
cost.
divided by UMC.
So for UMC, okay, unit contribution margin. So UCM, right? So you should write this equation here, but then you want the formula here. Does everyone see that? So you've got to be working and putting that on your spreadsheet so that you can finish the quiz exam in a reasonable period of time. Got it? So everybody got a spreadsheet. It is going to be important as we go through now and as we work with the project that you utilize formulas. Okay? Now, let's
What is
move.
break even? What is that?
That is, well, we got to prove it. Break even is supposed to be the point where sales less variable costs gives us a contribution margin, less fixed costs gives us net income. So we know that what? The fixed cost is going to be a what? 150,000. So we're keeping the fixed cost at 150,000. Okay. Now, if I sell 150, what my sales going to be? It's going to equal what?
Is it?
Parentheses,
Uh,
the 150 times the selling price, 375. We simply multiplied 150 times 2,500. Any question? Our variable cost when we sell 150 is going to equal what? Once again, the quantity times what? The unit variable cost, 225. Our contribution margin is going to equal what?
Wait, can you slow down really quick?
Oh my. All right.
I'm trying to put in the equations.
And everybody should be doing that, should be slowing me down and getting these equations in. You're going to need these equations.
Yeah,
Can you repeat
I'm
the
sorry. That 225,000 again.
hmm
How did you get that?
We
The first.
simply multiplied 150 times
Uh-huh.
1500.
Okay. Thank
So we saying 150 is going to cause us to break even. So we multiplied 150 times 2500. We got 375. Then we multiplied 150 times what? 1500, and we got 225. Now we need a contribution margin, and we can get this several ways. So what kind of equation we want for the contribution margin?
Would that be the 25 minus 15?
That's one way to do it, or 150 times 1,000. But so we're gonna get this minus 225, 150. Fixed cost is 150, and we'll just put our equation in. So this is going to equal what? The contribution margin minus the fixed cost. In question. So what we did was when we sold one, we lost 149,000. Our next question was, how many did we have to sell? How many did we have to sell so that we would break even? Does everybody see that?
But I got a question. I thought
What you
the
think?
2500 minus the 1500 was like 1,000,
It is.
but we put 150.
Okay, the first thing we did was we looked at what was going to happen if we sold one.
Mhm.
We always look at that. If I sell one, what's going to be the situation? I lost 149,000. The second question is, how many do I have to sell so I'll break even? Is that clear?
Yes.
could
And
you
of
could you
course,
scroll up really
did I do what?
could you scroll up really quick? I'm trying to see something.
Trying to see. That what you're trying to see?
Yeah, never mind. Thank you.
You're welcome. So that's why I wanted you to work with a spreadsheet, because this top, unless something changes, is going to be the same. An example we working now. So this would really be hard if you already had the spreadsheet, but because you got this Excel sheet, which can do all the work for you, there's no excuse why you can't learn this. Got it? And on your project, as we go to part 2, this sheet is the first thing you do. So in part 2, so we're looking at it just theoretically, but then you're going to look at it in terms of the project that you're making. What would be your loss if you sold one? How many you got to sell to break even? So we're working directly with what will go on your project. Any questions? The next one we want to look at is what? In a business, a lot of time we'll lose money initially. So let's look at this one, where what's going to be the case that will produce a loss of 100,000? Okay. Now, This information is all going to be the same. Okay, so you're seeing, okay, so all of that's the same. Fixed cost is the same. But now I need a quantity, and we know that the formula for target loss is going to equal what? The formula for target loss is going to be,
Was it the 149?
it's going to be the fixed cost to get the formula. The fixed cost minus the target loss amount. So in this case, it's going to be minus 100,000. And we're going to divide it by what? UCM. So the target loss is going to be the fixed cost minus 100,000 divided by the UCM. This is the form that we're going to use to say when we put a number in here, the loss down here is going to be 100,000. Okay. So what number when we put it in here is going to produce a minus 100,000? Got it? So what's the quantity that's going to produce that number? And it might need to be less than 152, not more. So make sure you subtracting the 100,000 rather than adding it, because I can remember last semester people added it, and so they had more here than break even. What's our quantity going to be?
50.
Husband says 50. Somebody else said 50. I already get 50. Can we put an equation in here for it? Let's put an equal, put a parentheses in here. Then I'm going to put a double parenthesis just in case. I'm going to take the 150 minus 100,000 out of here. Then I'm going to close that first parentheses. Then I'm going to put a slash in here. I'm going to go back up here to this UCM. I'm going to close my parentheses again. There's 50. How about that?
All right, and break down the numbers again, please, one more time. The 150,000 minus what?
Okay, it's the fixed cost, 150,000
Mm-hmm.
minus the target loss. We said that target loss was 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
We said the target loss was 100,000. So I'm simply subtracting, reducing 150 by 100 and dividing by the UCM, this 1,000. Any questions? All right, prove the 50 works. Now go through here, go through this equation, and prove that the 50 works. I want you all to do the work. Prove that the 50 works. So you're always doing that on your project. You're going to do that. You don't want any errors as you go into the project and prepare your budget. So go through and prove that the 50 work. Uh, who's that doing all that thumping in there when they're supposed to be writing equations? You're supposed to be writing equations, not using the calculator. Supposed to be writing equations, not using the calculator. Okay. So the sales is going to equal what? What's it going to equal? It's going to equal this quantity times what? The selling price. 125,000. The cost is going to equal what? We're going to click on the 50 again. Then we're going to multiply it times the 1,500. We got 75,000. Then we said we want an equation to get the dollar contribution margin equal, and we're just going to do what? Click on the sales minus the variable cost, 50,000. The fixed cost we'll copy from here. Should have put an equation in, but I didn't. So what's our net loss going to be in this situation? It's going to equal what?
100,000.
How we get 100,000?
You gotta
It
subtract.
has got the $100,000 loss. Are there any questions?
Yeah, how we get that 75,000 again?
We sold 50 computers. We just simply multiply 50 times 1,500. So 50 times the selling price, 50 times the cost. We're doing the same thing every time. Any questions?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so Ms. Tani, go ahead since you want to be a millionaire, you take the lead. I'm going to call on you. But everybody now work on the next column. You work on the next column over on the other side of break even, where we're looking at $1 million. We're looking at how many I need to sell to make $1 million. So we're trying to get this quantity. So I'm gonna give everybody 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna ask favors to walk us through that, and we'll have grading backup since she's a finance major. So everybody work and see if you can tell me how many you got to sell so that you'll make $1 million. So do we have our quantity to make $1 million?
Is it 1,150?
1,150. Anybody else got 1,150? Anybody else get that?
Yeah, I
I
got
got
I
it.
did.
that.
I did.
Everybody got 1,150. Is there anybody who didn't get 1,150? So we know that for this top information, we simply copy it and we paste it over here. Okay. And what's our formula for target profit? If we're just writing it down, target profit equals what? It's going to be equal to what? Fixed costs
Plus the target lot or target profit divided by the
plus
UC.
profit, correct, divided by what? The UCM again, right? Well, notice in every formula, we divide by the UCM, and the fixed cost is in there somewhere. So let's see if we can put that in equation form here to see if it'll work. Put the equal in, put the parentheses in twice. I'm gonna click on the fixed costs, plus I'm gonna go up here and get my $1 million. Close the parentheses, put the slash in there, and put the 1,000 in there. That gets to be 1,150.
Why do you put two parentheses for the formula when you first started?
It helps. Sometimes Excel will act up if you don't have the two parentheses. So I have an inner parentheses, fixed cost plus target profit. Then an outer parentheses, that number divided by the UCM. Sometime it'll work, sometime it won't. Got it?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Now, can you prove that? That is $1 million. That's what we're always doing. So everybody now go through and prove it that you're going to get $1 million on this line.
Mr. Boyd,
Yes.
I have a quick question about the homework.
Mm-hmm.
So is the variable cost different from like unit cost?
Well, let's finish this, then we talk about that. Let's just see. Okay, I got 1,000,000 working slow. Does everybody else have 1,000,000?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so what was that question on the homework now? Okay, so you got two things to do. So by 12 o'clock, you should be able to do option 2, right? Can everybody get option 2 done by 12 o'clock?
Like the whole thing, like the break even and all of that, or
Mm-hmm.
huh? 5 minutes?
Well, 10 minutes.
Well, it's 11:54.
What was the question?
He want
Can
us to do all of option 2 by
No,
12.
we cannot.
you
Oh
finish?
no,
Absolutely.
honestly, Mr. Boy, I cannot. I'm still a little perplexed, so that's not gonna be able to work. I'm sorry.
How
Is there
aren't we
anybody?
working backwards? Because it gives you the net income. How do we do it working from the net income?
Say that again.
No. Don't worry about it.
Selling price. I just changed the numbers. 3,000, 1,500, and 300,000. And I thought somebody would say, yeah, I can do this in 10 minutes.
That's
You go
not
back
No,
10
to
sir,
the
I
minutes.
cannot.
That's 5 minutes.
Sorry.
you go back to the regular sheet that we was just doing.
Yeah.
You want us to turn option 2 in or something? Is that why you're asking? Can we do it in 5 minutes?
I still can't do that.
You got to stop missing class.
What? We in class. How we missing class?
I'm here. You don't see me?
Now, I can't see
Please.
you.
Goodbye.
You go back to the other sheet we was just working on.
Okay. Now, our numbers are what? 3,000, 1,500, and 300,000, right? Everybody see that, right?
Yeah.
So let's go to the Excel sheet. And we said the selling price is now what? 3,000, right? And the unit cost is what now? 1,500, right? Still 1,500. And so the product variable cost now is what? 1,500. Our fixed cost now is what? 300,000, correct? I'm finished. Your slow professor is finished. Don't y'all feel bad?
No. Um,
I'm
so you want
finished.
to do the rest of it or what?
If you had your equations in, you'd be finished.
Wait, I'm
Almost.
confused.
You'd be almost finished. So there's some things that we have to do. Let's see, all these came across here. Need to come in here and put 3,000. Need to copy this across. Let me put equals 3,000. Like that. Better put equal in here again. Sometimes you can drag it on over. Okay, so we just changed our assumptions, correct? And so now, what is our contribution margin going to be? It's going to be 3,000 less 1,500. So we need to get this number changed. So let's put an equal in. 3,000 minus 100. Okay, got them to go. Now we're going to go down here and we said our selling price was what? Let me just put a equal. So look like I'm finished. I've got some work to do. So we still hadn't broken even. So we got to get this variable cost correct. But that's correct, 1,500. So the contribution margin. So let's put in an equation equal. So how we're looking now? Let's look at our bottom numbers. This would be equal to, so are we where we need to be now? 1203. Are we where we need to be?
What is the quantity from? Why does the quantity look like that?
Because you know you don't always get whole numbers. That is when you put the you know you don't always get a whole number. You know, uh, so it just. But the key thing is when you finish up, you need a minus 100,000 here, a zero here, and a million here. Then you know you got it correct. So you take your examination. If it says a minus 100,000, zero, and a million, you know you've done it right. If it doesn't say that, so what I'm showing you is that if you put your equations in, as I've told you all before, you put your equations in. You saw how long it took me to work them all? So that's how fast I want you to be able to work, Ladarian.
Yeah, we gonna work on that.
So your goal should be to work that second alternative, without any calculators, Malaysia, no calculator.
I'm not using a calculator. I'm typing in my equation.
All right. But put your equations in so you can be finished. So you need to understand the equations, of course, and to work with them. Then once you have your spreadsheet in shape, you know, you save this one, uh, then what you can do, you have to go through and just take the numbers out. So you kind of have to delete them because if you clear the content, you're going to clear your formulas. So you just go through and highlight stuff and delete it. Or if you just with your equations in, you can leave those numbers in, put your new assumptions in, and you should work through. So you should be able to. You just rename this, so you rename it that you work in option 2. And if you have your equations in there appropriately, just like I did just now, you should be able to work it. Got it? Okay. So I'm assuming you're not going to have any problem one way or the other working option 2.
Professor,
Yes.
um, with option two, with like I'm trying to do the total profit win, the 1 million. Whenever
Uh,
I add my fixed cost and the total profit, and then I divide it by 1,500, it gives me a decimal.
yeah,
Like
you just have to use decimals.
I can use that number.
Yeah, you have to use decimals.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
hmm Now, next time, what we'll do is we'll begin to look at when we change certain things out. Okay. So this item 7. Then we're going to move to CV in class problem 2. So probably I'll push the homework back to Thursday. But when we get to you're going to need that, updated spreadsheet because notice what you got in class 2. You got that old familiar raw materials, ink, and labor. So you're going to have to go in and calculate the cost now for a manufacturing company. You got selling expenses. You got two manufacturing overhead, and your selling price, your unit selling price, you got a multiple of 3 times the unit variable cost. 3 times the unit cost. And so this is where this comes in. Was the product variable cost, excuse me. So when you get ready to utilize your selling price multiple, it's always times this product variable cost. Okay? Not the total variable cost, and of course, fixed expenses are not involved. So a key thing that will make your work easier is that if you go and get your Excel sheet in good order. So we're not, not trying to make you, do a lot of calculating. You need to understand what you're doing. Then realize that on your project, you're going to have to calculate those same quantities. How much you lose if you sell just one. How many you got to sell to lose 100,000? How many you got to sell to break even? How many you got to sell to make $1 million? You got to do the same thing on your project. Any questions? On Tuesday, we'll have visitors for the first part of the period. I think Deloitte accounting firm, they're going to come and visit, talk about opportunities. And so for the accounting majors especially, you should be trying to touch base on getting an internship probably a year out. So, it's, our main reason here is to get a job. That's our main reason. And so we always want employers. So the company, career planning and placement said they wanted to come to the class and ask me. So I said, yes, they could come. And so they'll be there for the first period, have some good questions, be dressed business casual. So you're looking appropriate, and we'll go from there. Are there any questions?
Professor,
Yes.
are we like we don't have to turn this in, right? The one we were option 2?
Now we'll go over next class period.
Okay.
And when you
Now,
want us to dress professional?
pardon?
I said, and when did you want us to dress professional?
Tuesday.
Okay.
That's especially for you since it's an accounting firm. And this
Oh yeah.
firm, they have gone to basketball games and everything else, so they really are interested in hiring TSU students.
I have a question on the one we just did on the million one. Can you go over the quantity? How you got the quantity? Because I'm getting a different number than what you had.
Which one you're doing, the alternative one or what?
No, the one we just did right now for the
The
million.
first one?
Yeah, for the target profit for $1 million.
Okay, so this was the updated one. So let's just see. On the other one, the selling price was what?
This one's 3,000. That's the one
Okay.
I'm looking.
Are you looking at the 3,000 one?
Yeah, for the $1 million target profit.
Well, I got $1 million down here. And based
Well,
on
how
that,
did you get that? Because mine is saying 867.
Yeah, where you get the fixed
I
cost
got
of
$1 million
1,000?
too. I got $1 million with 867.
okay. Well, if you got $1 million with 867, then that sounds
Why
very.
is your fixed cost 150,000?
Maybe that's the problem here. It didn't clear. It didn't go to. So let me see. That didn't put over. So We'll shift parentheses. Thank you for that correction.
Okay, there. I got the same number now. Mine's
Okay.
rounding up. My Excel sheet rounds it up to 867 instead of
You see right here, you see here, you can increase decimals and decrease them.
how many
You
decimals?
probably need at least 2 decimal places.
2?
Yeah, you can use as many as you want. So sometime the more you use, the more you're gonna be able to get to this number exactly.
Okay.
But if you begin to use a few decimal places, you won't come out exactly with these numbers. So they're using
Did he just leave or I'm tripping?
I think he lost connection.
He ran out of time and he closed out on him.
And I was like, what happened?
I don't know. Well, with the weather and everything, certain things are happening. So I was
I about to say,
hoping I
Professor,
was going
your power go out over here in Pearland?
to say what.
Did your power go out?
Well, yeah, it went out in Carolina.
Okay, I about to say mine went out over here too. I was trying to make sure I ain't the only one. Bet.
Yeah, it went out, came back on. Yeah, so there are issues, but at least we're able to get on.
Yeah.
Last night I couldn't even,
I about to say I got some groceries over there. What if this power go out over here, man? I need something to eat. You got some food? I'm gonna pull it up.
But we bringing me food.
No. You got the food over there, man. I gotta eat something if the power go out. Don't worry, I just bring my Xbox. That's it. Just Wi-Fi and some food. We cool.
All right. So Evan, are you up to date now?
Yeah, I got it now.
Martin, you up to date now?
So what would you be doing?
Okay, so 2 things you're going to be doing next time. We're going to be doing the second problem, but there's some additional options in there, such as 7. So we'll look at that option. Then we're going to go to one on, managerial accounting. So this is what you're going to have on your exam. Okay, one with managerial accounting.
I have a question for this
Yeah.
homework right here. How it's
How,
not looking like what we doing. So how are we supposed to do this?
say that again.
It don't look like what we just did.
What does it?
That from the top right there, the one at 10, the two at 20.
This
Like what it?
problem, this problem here. Okay,
Yeah.
that's why you're gonna go into uh you'll be going into Blackboard and going to stage 2, and you'll have a spreadsheet just like this. And so when you work it, okay, you got raw materials paper, 1 ream at 10. So you got to put a 1 here, but then your unit costs are going to be 10. Okay. Then you put a formula in here. This has to equal that. Okay. Then for the 2 ink cartridge, that's raw materials 2. You got 2.
Oh, okay.
And
Then the next part after that, where it's like net loss, only one is sold, that's whenever we do what we was just doing.
Say that again.
The next part where it says I can't see it, you moved it, but it says like net loss if only one book is sold right there. That's
Yeah, that's the first one we always do. If we sell just one, that's this column here. That's the first thing we do, and we had that loss. And then we check to see how many we have to sell to break even. So that's this first column, sale of one. That's what we
does
always.
that part go underneath the contribution margin?
Well, in this case, you got one ream of paper 10, you got 2 ink cartons, then you got your direct labor, 2 hours at 10. So what's my labor gonna be? 2 hours at 10. How y'all memories coming?
20.
How much is gonna be? 2 hours at 10. Am I multiplying or dividing?
20? Is it 20?
Yeah,
Or
20. And so therefore, at this point, now you don't have a number here. We got to clear the contents. No, I won't clear it. I'll just delete it. So right now, we have the labor. I don't know why this one didn't come in. So then I got to add these up. And so my product variable cost at this point is what? Auto. So you have to auto sum them now. Wait a minute.
also, I had a question. When does this 20% selling price come into play or selling expense?
Okay, so let's auto sum here. 70. So we're at 70 now. Our selling price multiple in this problem 2 times the unit variable cost. 3 times, excuse me. So our selling price multiple is 3. We will have to multiply. So our selling price is going to equal the selling price multiple 3 times the product variable cost. So our selling price is 210. Our selling expenses themselves are going to be equal to, we paying them what? 20%. So we've got to, let me do something right quick. A lot of time you got to put the percentages in. I'm going to put 20% here. So my selling expenses are going to be equal to the selling price 210 times the selling rate commission. So I have to calculate my selling expense after I get my selling price. So my
Can you do
total,
that again? I'm sorry, can you do that again?
Okay. First thing I have to do is get the raw materials, 10 and 40, and the labor. I add these up, I got 70, okay? My selling price is going to be 3 times 70 or 210. Once I get the selling price, I can now come up with the commission rate, which is 20% of the selling price. So I just took, see, it says the commission rate is 20% of the selling price. So I took 20% of 210 and I got 42. So my total variable cost now is going to be the 70 plus the 42. So it's going to auto sum at 112. And so this is going to be equal
I have
to,
a question. What about the house has the bad debt 10% there? Do we have to do that too?
eventually, yeah, we didn't have it in this problem, but
Okay.
eventually you would have to do the bad debt too. You do it the same way. You got to calculate a selling price first. So the contribution margin is 98. So you see what you'd be doing now?
Yeah, what do we do with the manufacturing overhead and the
It's
administration?
always fixed. So you can assume that the manufacturing overhead is always fixed for simplicity. And the administrative expenses are always going to be fixed. So now when we get ready to do the fixed cost, we always got to add these items. Okay, so we're going to auto sum them. So our total fixed cost is 140. And notice it's jumped to 140 everywhere. So then we get to the quantity of one. Then then you got to put your equations in, your new equations in. Just got the 140,000 in. So I'm gonna let you come up with this to show me what that loss is gonna be. So you're gonna put your equations in so it will calculate it automatically. Got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Do next class, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Do
Go
next
back to
class.
the top so I can take a picture.
Say that again.
Can you go back all the way to the top so I can take a picture
All the way to the
of
top.
your Excel sheet? No, like, yeah.
Wait. So is this gonna be due next Thursday?
No, this is
What?
the
There's
in
a homework
class.
This
due
is
on
due
Tuesday.
Tuesday morning.
This
Yeah,
is
Tuesday
thank
morning.
you. This is due Tuesday morning. This is
Okay.
just the in class problem we're working on.
Okay.
Then the homework that was due Thursday, for those teams who need more time, that homework will be due on Thursday. You got 4 problems. You assign those problems to people on your team leaders, and then you
Wait, we all
send.
have to do one?
That's team leader should assign one to everybody, then work with the team member on it to make sure the team member can do it.
Wait, what you talking about is due Thursday?
You have a homework assignment that was supposedly due on Tuesday. I'm moving it to Thursday. That's 4
Oh,
problems.
huh?
Some of what we're just looking at. There are 4 problems in there.
Oh, the assignment that's on there right now that says due Tuesday, you moving it to due Thursday instead?
Correct.
You're so
Oh,
sweet. God bless you.
I
yes.
tried to be. I tried to please. So what you want to do, team leader, is, and what I'm depending on you to be able to do, is to make sure your team members can work it. So you assign one to each team member, and then you let them submit it in, and you make sure that they're all correct.
It's
Got it?
only 4 problems, and it's more than 4 people in my team.
You can still assign them. Uh, you can assign 2 people the same thing.
And then only I turn it in?
Only you turn it in.
Because last time it didn't say nothing about team. So how are we supposed to know only one of us supposed to turn it in?
Typically, team is on it. If you look at
This
this,
time.
it says
This
team.
time. This time.
Oh, Ebony.
The other time, all it said was project.
Every time there's an assignment, everybody on your team turn it in. If
Well,
there's no,
that's not me. That's them. They steadily turning it in.
that's what I'm saying. So anyway, get them straight. Tell them that they don't. Let them know, Ebony, that they will only get half credit if they turn it in individually. Just let them know that.
And okay, I'm sorry, I'm a little slow right now. But so which one is due on Tuesday then, just to be sure?
Nothing. The CVP
There's
team
only
homework
one,
is
and
due
it's
to
due
Thursday.
Thursday.
Is the one
It
okay? So
says
there's nothing due
Tuesday, but
Tuesday.
it's due Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, everything's
The
due on
regular
Thursday.
homework is due Thursday, but
Uh huh.
the in class work you should work on it. I'm not taking it up. We're gonna go over it.
Okay, okay. Trying to make sure. Okay, now I'm back. I'm back. Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
All right. Well, appreciate you, Professor. That's it. That's all I got.
All right.
Okay, bye.
All right. Y'all have a good weekend and stay dry. We'll talk to
You
y'all later.
too.
You
Bye
too.
bye.
All right. Catch it up, Lolly.
I had a question.
Okay.
Did you get my email? Well, not my email, my submission.
Yeah, I saw it.
Was it
I
wrong?
look at it. I look at it. Keep working. Have your major change by Tuesday.
Huh?
I'm just talking.
I already added the minus.
But just talk to the accounting. Just find out about the company. So you research it and see what they do and have a good question. So that's part of your extra assignment. Got it?
Okay.
All right. But you got this down, don't you?
I'm trying.
Oh,
Um, I'm trying. So for the selling expense, where did that come from? The 20%? Well, the 42. You're on mute.
looks like my internet's starting to go out now. So you have a good weekend. Come early or late on Tuesday as you need to so we can go over some things, okay?
All right.
We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye bye.